And maybe you can answer it, is in regards to the, please, the amount of types of e-cigarettes there are, because I feel like there's so many out there. Is there like a number of brands that are vapor-based, that aren't, that are nicotine-based? And if you know anything about the categories by which they're in, because I know there's so many types out there.
Yeah, there's a multitude of different types of electronic cigarettes, or what we would call personal vaporizers. The industry started, as some of the gentlemen mentioned earlier, about 8 to 10 years ago. The first electronic cigarettes that were created, and the way that it got the name electronic cigarette is it was an electronic device that looked like a cigarette. The majority of devices have kind of moved on from that. There's been a lot of innovation that has happened in the industry, especially within the last 3 to 5 years. And there's been a multitude of different types of devices. Similar to a device that I'm holding here, as you can see, it looks absolutely nothing like an electronic cigarette. It has a bunch of different functions and features that let you control the power and whatnot. So there's a ton of different types of devices. I would like to point out that there are a large multitude of devices, or users utilizing electronic cigarette and vaping accessories with zero nicotine. And so there's a large distinction in that people will come up and state that there's studies and people are getting exposed to nicotine. Well, there's a large majority of users who are utilizing the product with zero nicotine in it. And the studies that a lot of people may state here don't take into account that information. So.
Yeah, I think my question was because I feel like when they say there's studies done, I'm wondering on which device was it done? Was it done on that?
Exactly, and in fact, one of the particular studies that is always mentioned in the justifications in most of these bills for the last few years states an FDA study that was done back in 2009, which was done on one product that was based out of China. At this point, there are thousands of vendors, hundreds of manufacturers all across the United States who are doing things the right way. And so it doesn't take into account that. You can't just go to one store, buy one product, make one study, and then say, well, this is what is the product, and this is what stands for everything across the spectrum.
Last question. How many vendors here in Hawaii actually fabricate like the original product, or does everyone just sell something that was made somewhere else and they sell it here?
I can't speak for all of the companies here. I don't even know all of the companies in the state of Hawaii.
Do you make your own
product? I can only speak for myself. We do manufacture our own devices as well as our own e-liquids. So for me, I can say that we manufacture our own devices and our own e-liquids.
So you know what's inside of it and what comes out of it because you manufacture
Correct.
it. You don't just sell it for a vendor.
Correct. And we batch test. We know all of our ingredients. We post our ingredients on our bottles. We also do all of our own batch tests. We've done all of our own studies to check what the aerosols are, what gets created when the product is vaporized. I would like to come back to one of the statements that the Department of Health made in regards to formaldehyde. There was a recent study that was just published by Portland State that stated that electronic cigarettes create formaldehyde. The problem that they didn't mention is that when they did the test, they heated the e-liquid to about 1100 degrees Fahrenheit. There's no electronic cigarette or any user that would ever utilize an electronic cigarette at 1100 degrees Fahrenheit. The biggest, most strongest performing electronic cigarette will hit 500 degrees on its best day. The majority of electronic cigarettes are in the 100 to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So a person who is vaporizing e-liquid at 1100 degrees would not be able to take it in. It would taste very acrid. It would be very burnt. I could probably get a ton of carcinogens from a steak if I stuck it on the grill and grilled it on high for 30 minutes and then tried to eat it. But nobody's going to do that. So I just would like to point out that fact.
Thank you so much for the clarifications. Appreciate it.
Thank you very